Chloe, otherwise known as Princess Aspian, and welcome to my channel. Just gonna wait for the trucks to pass. I swear every single time I'm about to film a video, a giant truck comes along and just be's like, no. So for today's video, I want to be bringing up something which is not necessarily as fun and lighthearted as my usual topics. I want to be bringing up something that affects a lot of people worldwide and is the leading cause of mental health related deaths in the world. I want to be talking about eating disorders. Now, for those of you who know me or have watched my videos, you probably know that I spent a lot of my life suffering really badly with anorexia. I am recovered now, which is so good, and yay. Dealing with an eating disorder is hard enough when it's in your own head, but when you have people around you saying negative things, or things that are even worse, I guess, when they think it's coming from a place of love but it actually just ends up hurting you more, that makes it so much harder. So I made up a list today of things that I have heard throughout the years, either to myself or to other people, of things that people say to people that have eating disorders, which sometimes they come from a good place, sometimes they just come from a really nasty, mean, rude place, but that's fine. Education, it's all about educating, yeah? But I've come up with a list of 10 different things to never say to someone who is currently suffering from an eating disorder. Some of these things have been said to me by loved ones and friends and family, and they were said out of a place of love, but when you're that deeply in your mindset, it doesn't feel like it's out of place of love, and it can actually end up hurting more. And other ones of these were just said by dumb people. Yeah. So these are 10 different things to never say to someone who is suffering from an eating disorder. Number 1, is that all you're eating? The amount that this was said to me is, whenever I was out, whenever I was with friends, whenever I was at uni, whenever I was out and about with people that weren't my immediate family and didn't understand and know me and my situation personally, this was said all the time. And while I understand that if you're saying this, you are saying it out of a place of shock and possibly love, it actually only shames the person that is suffering in the first place and doesn't help or make us think different about our eating habits whatsoever. This is a rhetorical question. This is a question that doesn't have an answer. This is a question that it's impossible to know what the right answer is, because there isn't really a right answer. It's made to shame and embarrass us, even if that isn't your original given intention. Number 2, I wish I had your self-control. What makes this so sad is that people think that it is a choice and that it's a lifestyle choice like any other sort of diet or eating habit or lifestyle, and at the end of the day, it's not. It's a really awful mental health condition. Saying I wish I had your self-control to someone who has an eating disorder is like saying I wish I had an excuse to stay inside all the time to someone who has social anxiety, or man, I wish I didn't have to see all the gross things that are happening in the world to someone who's blind. It's not a choice, it's a really awful thing. Number 3, you don't look like you have an eating disorder. This one annoys me so much. Eating disorders don't have a look. They don't always mean rail thin and on the brink of death and sickly skinny. And this isn't just a misconception for you normal everyday person. This is a misconception for doctors and health professionals and people who are meant to know a lot about this stuff. There are so many people globally which are really suffering and struggling with eating disorders, but they are unable to get the help that they so badly need because doctors believe that they're not thin enough. There is no look for eating disorders, and there are so many different types of eating disorders that only a small percentage of these disorders are actually categorized by a really low BMI and body weight. Eating disorders are one of the most stigmatized mental health conditions in the world, and if someone is strong enough to speak up about the fact that they're struggling, putting them down and diminishing what they're feeling by saying you're not thin enough, you don't look like you have an eating disorder, you're not this and this to be diagnosed, is entirely invalidating them and their mind and their experiences, and is telling them that they're not sick enough, and that's not going to make them get better, that's going to only make them feel worse. And with anorexia being the leading cause of mental health related deaths, it's not exactly the best thing to be ignoring. Number 4, just eat something. Saying to someone with an eating disorder to just eat is like telling someone who's clinically depressed to be just happy. It's like telling someone who has severe crippling anxiety to just get out of the house. Plain and simply, it's not that easy and it's not going to make a change. A lot of the time we feel alienated and lonely and alone, and eating makes us feel more uncomfortable in our skin than we already are. It often fills us with dread and shame, and telling us to just eat something only increases that dread and shame more than it already is. Number 5. You look so unhealthy, you look so skinny, you look so sickly. While saying this is obviously rooted from a place of concern and a place of you wanting that person to get better and to see how thin they are, it doesn't seem that way to the person who is suffering, and it certainly isn't going to be making a positive impact on them. When someone is so deeply rooted into the mindsets that they've gotten themselves into, saying that sort of stuff isn't going to help them. It isn't going to make them want to change for the better. It's only going to encourage them to continue to get worse. And I know that this sounds really backwards, but when you're struggling so deeply with that awful mindset, when someone tells you, you look skinny, you look sickly, you look like all your bones are showing, that is validating us, and it's making us feel like we're doing the right thing. To those who are so deeply rooted, if someone says you look really, really skinny, it's taken to us as a sign of progress. Number 6, boys don't like skinny girls anyway. Well, look, that's really, really swollen all, but I can guarantee you that the cause of my mind saying this to me isn't to try and lure men in. It's not to lure anyone in, because quite frankly, despite common misconception, the size of my body on the outside doesn't actually matter. I was at such war with my body throughout my entire eating disorder that I hated the way I looked just as much when I was at my lowest weight as much as I did when I was at a normal healthy range. What I saw on the outside was so misconceived. I could never be small enough, I could never be pretty enough, I could never be what I wanted to be. No matter what I saw in the mirror, it wasn't right. It's not what you see in the mirror, it's how you feel about yourself. And trust me, I hated my body so much that I didn't want anyone near it. Number 7, wish I had a body like yours. Ah, yes, fainting constantly, yellow teeth, excess body hair, completely unable to go anywhere because it is too cold, even in the middle of summer, dry skin, hair and nails that are falling out of your actual scalp and fingers, seizures, bags under your eyes deeper than the Atlantic Ocean, osteoporosis, and potential heart and kidney failure. Ah, the perfect body. Who wouldn't want it? Me, not me. I don't want it. It's bad. Don't do it. Number 8, if you think you're fat, you must think I'm obese. Look, plain and simply, I really don't give a hoot what your body looks like. And look, yes, it might sound really selfish, but I am not looking at you whatsoever. Plain and simply, I couldn't care less what your body looks like. Eating disorders are diseases that are focused on us and our brains and our bodies. You aren't involved. And in all honesty, trying to insert yourself into a conversation about eating disorders and talking about the size of your own body to someone who is suffering kind of just makes you look like an idiot. If you must insert yourself into conversation because people are selfish and people like to talk about themselves, that's why I have YouTube. Instead of mentioning sizes and bodies and the shapes of each other, let's talk about something else. Let's talk about something that has nothing to do with body shapes, but still has to do with bodies in general. Let's talk about something like self-love. Let's talk about something like self-care. Let's talk about loving ourselves regardless of what our body shape is or what we look like. If you want to help someone with an eating disorder, instead of discussing the size of your own body, discuss loving yourself, discuss being healthy, discuss loving your body regardless of the size as it is, not in spite of the size of it. Because eating disorders aren't necessarily about the size, because every single person with an eating disorder has a different conception of what the ideal type of beauty is and what skinny is and what the perfect body is. It isn't about size, it's about accepting our bodies as they are. Number 9, it's just for attention. Ah, yes, it is 110% for attention, which is exactly why every 62 minutes someone in the world dies due to an eating disorder. It is 100% due to attention, which is exactly why there are hundreds of thousands of people globally suffering through this disease alone, which is exactly why people are hiding their dying, fragile bodies under layers upon layers of clothing, which is exactly why people don't want to go out, don't want to go to the beach, don't want to show off, don't want anyone around them, which is why so many people that are suffering cover up mirrors in their bedrooms and their houses and refuse to go out in case they see a reflection of themselves, because the sight of their bodies is so filled with hatred. Number 10, you're hurting the people around you. You don't think we don't know that? Just like the millions of people that are dealing with depression every year, or that are dealing with suicidal thoughts every year, there are so many people that are riddled with guilt about their eating disorders because of what impact it is having on their family, which, again, coming on from the last point, is exactly why it is so hidden, and is exactly why people don't seek help for it, because it is something that we're made to feel so guilty about, because we don't feel like we're allowed to talk about it, because one, it's going to be seen as for attention, and two, because we know it's going to hurt people around us and it's going to put struggles on those around us. Guilt tripping anybody about their illness, whether it's anorexia or another eating disorder or depression or anxiety or anything, isn't going to help anything. It's just going to make us feel worse. It's just going to make us feel more like we have to hide it and not seek the help that we so desperately need. It isn't going to flick a switch and make them realize, oh yeah, maybe I should stop. Instead of a guilt trip, support, support, support. We need support. So those are my 10 different things to not say to someone who is currently struggling with an eating disorder. This obviously isn't my usual type of content, and I haven't necessarily spoken a whole lot about eating disorders on my channel before, so I don't really know how this video was going to go. I am recovered, but it is still a subject that is kind of iffy and like to talk about, and I do want to talk about it more because I know that there are so many people that are struggling with it that need that support. But yeah, let me guys know what you think, and if you guys want to see more videos like this, and I can definitely do more. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure if you did like this video to like, comment, subscribe. I don't mind. Do it if it makes you feel happy. Do it if it makes you feel good. Stay kind. Love yourselves. Be groovy. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.